Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Downer on Behind the Firewall. I'm here with Edgar Ortiz once again, owner and managing partner of CMIT Solutions in Des Moines. How are we doing today, Edgar?
We're doing excellent. We're doing excellent. So happy to be here in another episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So today, I know this is one of your favorites. What we're going to be discussing is what a small business cybersecurity plan should actually include. So my question for you today is, what are the essential components of a cybersecurity plan for a small to mid-sized business, and how do you build one?
Oh, that's a great place to start because this is where most small business get it wrong. They think cybersecurity is just one product. They think hey, cybersecurity is just one product. So modern cybersecurity is a layer, a defense strategy. You
Okay.
layer that as a defense, and there around we can talk about 7 layers for every small business here in Des Moines. They should have in place uh kind of the layer one is going to be endpoint protection. That's
Okay.
the modern what is we call EDR. So endpoint detection and response. So that's what EDR means. You need to have that running in every laptop, every desktop, every server. Uh, just not a consumer antivirus. Oh, I have a Norton. That's what a bunch of people say. I have an antivirus in my computer.
Right.
This is a real behavior detection that catch ransomware before encrypts every single file. Layer two is definitely email security. Over 90% of cyber attack start with an email. You need advanced email filtering. The catch is actually phishing, and especially like we talked before, AI these days is crazy. Business email compromise, malicious attachment before they hit your invoice. That's key right there. Having email security. Kind of layer three, we're talking about DNS filtering. This is the blocks malicious website at the network level. If an employee clicks about a backlink, DNS filtering stop that connection between the malware ever download into your systems. Um, for multi-factor authentication, that's in everything. Like everything, you need everything multi-factor authentication, email, VPN, cloud, admin accounts. This the single control that blocks majority of the credential based attacks out there. Multi-factor authentication, do it now. uh Five is gonna be kind of like dark web monitoring. We
Okay.
watch the dark web for your company credentials. When an employee password shows up in a breach, and we know immediately, and we force that employee to go out and actually redo the password and everything. So that monitoring the dark web, it needs to be constant. You need to have that layer. uh Six is going to be security information and event management. You need to have that log, you need to have that information. This is the central nervous system that collects all the logs from every system, correlate that, flags real threats. Without a system information, you are in a blind. And that's actually happening in your whatever happened in your network. You don't have that, you're blind.
Yep.
And I think seven is just security awareness training. You need to train your people, especially now. Your people, we talk about this all the time. All the attacks happen because of human error. So that is the reason you need to actually train your people every time. You every month, send them training, make them take tests. I know it's annoying, but it needs to be done in order to be safe and secure. And that is the reason this is a multi-layered approach.
I love it. And it sounds like you've got all your bases covered. So in the beginning, when you were talking about antivirus software. Uh, could you tell me why having a cybersecurity plan is fundamentally different from just buying antivirus software? What's the difference?
This is the question I wish every business owner asked me before they get a breach. An antivirus is a product.
Right.
A cybersecurity plan is a living strategy. This is antivirus is a product. Cybersecurity plan is a living strategy. It's a huge difference. When you buy an antivirus, you are buying a single tool that scans for known threats. It's scanning for things that we know. That's what reasonable defense. That's a good defense back in 2005. We
Right.
are in 2026, and almost they're almost useless for what is happening right now. Your modern trend, ransomwares, AI generating phishing, deep fake, social engineering, supply chains attacks don't show up in a single in a antivirus database. Those blame, they look legitimate. Some of these things look legitimate, and they exploit human trust. So you need to have a real cybersecurity plan that's different, because that's alive. Sorry.
Yes.
And it evolves, evolves with the time. Threat change every single week, and your defenses have to change with them. It's just buying something out of the shelf. It doesn't not going to change with the threats that are changing. Having cybersecurity is a good plan that includes the 7 layers that we talked before, and you just walk through that, and include governance, framework, incident response, procedures, employee training cycles, patch management, vendor risk, your supply chains. That people don't think about that, and evaluating what you put in your system. Continue monitoring. Here's the analogy I use with clients. Buying an antivirus and calling it a cybersecurity is like buying a deadbolt and calling it a home security. So deadbolt is part of the deadbolt is part of it, but the real home security is but real home security is a deadbolt plus an alarm system,
Yeah.
plus camera monitoring, a light switch, those light switches that come out you have in your house. So
The motion
watching that
detected. Yeah.
field, that camera, that's the real security. Cybersecurity works the same way. A CMIT solution of Des Moines, uh, when we build a cybersecurity plan, we build that plan and that program not to sell you a product. We are not selling you a product. That's a program that gets reviewed quarterly. We update it as the threat evolves and the threats change. We update that plan and we test it regularly. That is the difference between a plan and a purchase of uh, just antivirus out of the shelf.
Perfect. So, let me ask you a question, and I know this one hits home for you. Why are employees considered the first line of defense in cybersecurity? And how does CMIT Solutions, how does your company train your clients' teams to recognize these threats?
It's because 90% of successful cyber attacks start with a human making decision. That's
Mm-hmm.
right there. It's just 90%. It's a human error, and somebody took the decision. An employee clicks a link, an employee opens an attachment, an employee wires money based on an email that looks like it came from the CEO, and now deep fake. We can now AI. I guess we're going to talk later about that, but that's a good one right there. No amount of technology can stop every one of those,
Right.
but training your employees stop most of them. Training them, that's the key right there. Training and training. I was in the military. What we did, train. I tell my clients all the time, your firewall doesn't get fish. your software doesn't get phished and all that. Your employees do. Your
Right.
employees are the ones that get phished. Here's what the modern security awareness training actually looks like at CMIT Des Moines. It is no one-time annual video that everyone's clicks through when they check in their email. Oh, I got a video and bling 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 bling, and I
Right.
did it. No, that approach is dead. That's complete dead, and especially in the AI era. Real training is continuous. We change the behavior. We're trying to work with the employees to change that behavior. We deploy a monthly micro trainings, short 5 minutes videos, that talk about the current threats and the current topics. We run simulator phishing. We send phishing emails to your employees. We get campaign every single month. Employees who click on them and get just immediately just time coaching. As soon as you click it, boom, we're gonna put you in coach. This is not putting anyone in the hot seat. We don't want that. We want to train. We want to help people to be prepared for this. Over time, you can see your click rate drops. By industry average is between 20 to 30%. We get it down to a 2 or 3%. we
Nice.
we that is the reason we train. It's not a gotcha moment,
Yep.
and it's not about for you to fire that person and something like that. It's to actually train that person, and especially, like I say, these days with AI is getting so sophisticated that I'm gonna be honest. One email almost got me. Like, I was looking at it and looking at it and looking at it, and they say, okay, but I have the mentality of zero trust. So I pick up the phone and I call the person. And like I said before, the average is 20 to 30%. We try to get it to a 2 or 3%, and that's a massive reduction in the
Yeah.
attack surface that can happen. We also train for threats that are actually happening. Like I said, here now in 2026, deep voice calls. That's going crazy right now. You
Yes.
pretending to be the CEO. We had a case not too long ago that happened. They lost $250,000.
Oh my goodness.
AI generating spear phishing. That, like I say, it's just crazy how everything is going right now. A lot of people don't think about this. Your vendor impersonating attacks, impersonation. That's an attack right there. Some people impersonating your vendors, and you paying invoices to your vendors. QR codes. People don't think about QR code phishing. The threat landscape has moved, and it's just massive. So,
Yep.
so most security awareness training hasn't caught up with that, and like I say, here some businesses are not cutting out into that, and their potential to lose thousands of money. But with us, your ROI is secure because we give you a real training for your employees that is the small in monthly, so we can get your people to be top notch and know the threats that are happening right now.
Perfect. So, Edgar, let me ask you this: how do strong password policies and multi-factor authentication provide one of the simplest yet most effective ways to prevent breaches?
Um, that's a great question right there, but I think that's one of the biggest deal right now. A lot of companies don't put that as a foundation in place. Uh, they're no rebuilding um that in here is that I should to end this debate a little bit. Over 80% of the data breaches involving a stolen or weak credential. If you fix how password and authentication work at your business, you have eliminated the majority of your breach risk. So that's the thing, and a lot of companies don't put that as a foundation. for the company. That's a big deal, and it's generally the single highest ROI change on a small business that you can make. Let me, let me break it kind of in two parts. Password policy, long phrased, big, short, complex password every time. We recommend around 14 character minimal or passphrases. Password management deploy company wide. You need to have a password management tool. No password reuse across account. A lot of people do that. A lot. It's crazy. And a dark web monitoring. You need to have a dark web monitor to cache those exposed credential because it's happening every day. Those exposed credential. Uh, the old advice of change the password every 90 days is actually counterproductive. It's just make people pick weaker passwords. Uh, you need to follow the modern guidelines for needs. They say stop force rotation and kind of concentrating strength that plus monitoring. Don't make them do it every 90 days. No, concentrate in rotating, but for the strength of the password and monitoring that password. Multi-factor authentication on everything. We said it before, and I say it again. Multi-factor authentication in everything: email, VPN, remote desktop, cloud application, everything that you can imagine. Your line of business software, your banking, your payroll system, every admin account, everything that you can get out there. I want to be specific about what kind of multi-factor, because you have the one that is a text messaging code. They are
Right.
weak from, can be something can be introduced to swapping that. Authenticator apps are significantly better. So using an authenticator app definitely is going to help you way more better. Hardware security keys, like some keys that they sell that you actually put it in and put your finger, those are also amazing. Because here's the reality: if you implement a strong password phrase and a password manager and a multi-factor authentication, plus you add on top of that a dark web monitoring, you eliminate 80%. You roughly 80% of the ways of for a small business to get rich. And that's the return on investment right there.
Yep.
You prefer to close everything down than just get a bridge. No, you put those things in place, you are eliminating 80%. And I'm telling them that it's when they say, oh, I cannot afford it, and we going back into the same way of like, for don't think about this as an expense in your line item expense. Think about this as an investment in your business.
Yep. I agree. So let's just say that something slips through. And could you tell us what a business should do in the first 60 minutes after discovering a potential security breach?
The first 60 minutes of a cyber incident, it
Yes.
determine where you have going to have a bad day or your business is ending. Most small businesses get this window completely wrong because they have no incident response plan. That's a huge one right there. No incident response plan. Nobody in the organization knows what to do because they don't have a plan. They don't have that written plan. Here at CMIT Des Moines, the incident response is a framework for the first hour. So you get you minute by minute, 0 to 10 minutes,
Yes.
contain it. We need to contain that. We isolate it. We affect the system that is affected. We isolate it from the network immediately. We unplug. Then if you have to do the unplugging, do not shut them down. Shutting down, it destroyed the forensic evidence in the memory. So just disconnect them from the network. So that pretty much stop the lateral movement. So that's right there from 0 to 10 minutes. 10 to 20, notify. call us. You call us directly, or or your incident response partner, whoever is in incident response partner, the big one. And listening to me when I say this one, the big one, call your cyber insurance carrier. Call your cyber insurance. And what unfortunately I hear most, we don't have a cyber insurance. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that. But if something happened, call your cyber insurance carrier. This is critical. Most of cyber policy, require a notification within this a specific time frame, and they using kind of like a pre-approved vendors kind of for that. And if you call them you call the run also forensic firm first, your insurance may not even cover that. So call your insurance immediately. Minute 20 to 35, we already in 30 minutes, and preserve the evidence. We need to preserve the evidence. Do not wipe the machines. Do not restore from backup yet. Don't pay any ransom. Don't pay any ransom. Even though they say if you pay, if that's not going to happen to you again. Don't pay any ransom. Document everything you see in this screenshot. Timestamp it. Get the time. Who noticed what and when. Who noticed that? This is evidence that matter for your insurance claim, and that's all the evidence that you need to be collecting quickly. For regulators, you need to then do reportings, potential law enforcement involvement. Then minute 35 to 50 and all close to an hour, we assess the scope, work with your incident response team to determine what systems are affected, what data may they access, whether the attacker still has access. Credentials definitely should be rotated. Privileged accounts should be locked down. Minute 50 to 60, activate a communication plan. That's key right there. Identify who needs to know. So when you activate your communication plan, who needs to know? The executive, affected employees, your legal counsel, your lawyers. I talk about insurance, but now I'm talking about your lawyers, potential clients, regulators, the state IG, the state attorney general. Depending on what data was involved, you don't communicate. You don't publicize it. You don't get it to the public yet. So, and to your clients, if you have a legal guidance first, you need to make sure you have a legal guidance to guide you through that in order before you communicate to your clients. And here's the thing: you should be making this decision in the moment. Every client, we build a cybersecurity plan. You don't should need to be making this. We build a plan for you. It gets written, the incident response. We plan everything, the role, who is in that list, what is the name of the role, the contact information. We have a whole playbook, procedures. When the alarm goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning, so nobody's guessing. Everyone knows their job, and everyone knows what they need to be doing.
So, all that being said, how does CMIT Solutions build customized cybersecurity plans based on a company's size and risk profile?
So every business is different. So every cybersecurity plan should be different. Definitely, no, it's not cookie cutter security programs. When you have a cookie cutter security program, fail because they either over invested in control, the business doesn't need, or they're under invested in the control that matter the most. They need to have in place. We built around 3 variables: industry, size, and risk profile. We build that around those 3 variables. What is the industry? What is the size? And what is the risk profile? Industry drive, the compliance requirements. So that's definitely number one. It's a healthcare practice here in Des Moines. They need HIPAA alignment controls. It's a financial advisor. They need SEC control and FINRA controls. It's a manufacturing with defense contract. That's a huge right there. They need something called CMNC, and they need NIST. The dental practice. They need HIPAA and retails, whatever retail, they need what is called PCI compliance for their card processing. So your industry pretty much determines the floor. So, or the minimal controls that you are legally required to have. Um, then we kind of look into size. Size kind of drive the architecture. A 10-person firm, doesn't need the same security stack that 200-person firm needs. The threats are similar, but the scale of the controls are completely different. uh with the with right size, the plan, we size the with the size, we match the plan that they should get in their environment. The risk profile definitely drives priority. This is where our discovery assessment comes in. We conduct a detailed assessment. We cover and assess inventory, data classification, asset controls, threat exposure, third party risk, any business impact. We create that, we risk that, and we create a roadmap. So the highest impact improvement, get prioritized first. And we get an output where we get a 30, 60, and 90 days roadmap plus a 12-month strategy. So 30 days to close the critical gaps, uh, and 60 days to deploy any core controls, 90 days to monitor and respond, and then the 12 months to mature the program to the industry benchmark and the industry that we are working in. And here's what it makes the difference from what most MSP companies, managed providers, do. We sit on the client side of the table. For us, myself as a virtual CISO, it's not just we are not a vendor. We really translate the technical risk into business language, so the owner can actually act on. So shouldn't need to be a security expert. They don't need to be a security expert. They run in a business. We're going to talk to them as a business, and we're going to have the business language in order to create those plans. And that's our job, to help in that way.
Sorry about that. My mic was muted. I don't even know how that happened. But anyway, so you were talking about compliance earlier. So can you tell me how a well-designed cybersecurity plan, how does that help a business meet compliance requirements like you had mentioned HIPAA, PCI, DSS, and NIST?
Yeah. So here's the good news for a business owner. Cybersecurity and compliance are not a separate project. That's just there's no it's no you don't separate cybersecurity for compliance. When you build a good cybersecurity plan, you automatically addressing the vast majority of the compliance requirements. So that is the reason it goes hand in hand. They are two sides of the same coin. So that's nothing else right there. We can pretty much kind of walk you through to the three biggest one for small businesses here in Des Moines. HIPAA. If you handle protected health information, you have medical practice, dental office, behavioral health, any vendor, serving healthcare clients, with HIPAA security rules require, you know, the administration that you administrate physical and technical. You have technical safeguard that pretty much kind of translate that the means of the risk assessment and the access control, you auditing those login, you have encryptions, you have a workforce train like we talked before, you have an incident response plan. Every one of those, map directly to a cybersecurity layer that we had talked before, and that's what it goes hand in hand. For a retail organization, a shop that is selling whatever, a restaurant, PCI compliance. So if you accept credit cards, you are subject to those PCI compliance. The current standard of PCI, that is, I think, the 4.0, is significantly more rigorous than other version. And the biggest thing right now is that small businesses, especially like a restaurant or a shop or something like that, that needs to have PCI compliance, they don't have no clue. And I have seen uh, organizations, they're charging them because they are out of compliance. And small business owners thinks, well, this is just a fee from my credit cards. It's a fee. No, it's not a fee for your credit cards. They're stealing that money from you, and it's happening, and it makes me mad because it's happening. It's real. It's a reality out there. When I audit their bills and their credit card bills, and I start looking to their, because the credit cards, the person that sells you those machines, they're not responsible for that. They're not actually telling you what you need to be doing, and they're stealing for small business owners. And that's the reality. I don't know how this is gonna land, and this is gonna make him in trouble, but I don't care because I seen it. And right now it's significant, more with the new PCI compliance. So it's required that you have a network segmentation. But most small business owners in the retail space don't know what is that. They require that everything has an MFA, vulnerability management, and continuous monitoring. Again, the same controls that make you secure makes you compliant. So if you have frameworks, cybersecurity frameworks, like nets are becoming, de facto standard across the industry. If you
Right.
sell to the Department of Defense, that's another big thing. If you sell them to them, or you need to have a contract or something, we're talking about that's another layer of compliance. It's called CMNC. That requires Department of Defense required you to have that. And that's another thing. Everyone can sell to the Department of Defense, and a lot of businesses don't want to get prepared for that. And if you have a business and you get prepared and you get into all this, you apply all these frameworks, you also can be selling to the biggest buyer in the world, that is the Department of Defense. So that's one of the biggest things right there. If you sell to largest enterprise, and their vendor risk program in that increase also a lot, and then you need to be aligned with those compliance. And in one of the biggest things is really you need to have really good framework for any business out there. So to use a blueprint that can help you to mitigate the mistakes of your business and make you actually compliant, and have the paperwork to do the exercise, filling the questionnaire once a year and calling them done, is not it anymore. You need to actually have a partner like us, a CMIT solution in Des Moines, that can help you to navigate those things. Uh, you know, having that once a year to fill it out, whatever, you just create an illusion of that you have security, and without the reality. We flip that. We build you a real security control first, then we document them in the way that produce compliance evidence as a product, as a byproduct.
Yep.
So secure first, in compliance second. So when you do that, and that way the compliance is almost, I can say, free, because it can help you to be safe.
Perfect. So let's bring this home, Edgar. Last question for you today. I know I've had you talking a lot. Um, could you tell us why regular security assessments and vulnerability testing are so important today? And why is once a year testing no longer enough? It's the last one I'll ask you today.
Yeah. Um. So yes, that's a great question, and it's because the threat landscape doesn't move on an annual calendar. It moves weekly. So, annual security assessment gives you the snapshot of your security posture. One day, of the year, 3 weeks later, Microsoft released a critical patch. 6 weeks later, a new ransomware variant emerged, and they can actually bypass the endpoint detection response. 10 weeks later, an employee credential shows up in the dark web. 6 months later, you have deployed three new software applications that nobody's assessing, nobody's looking into it. But the time that your next annual assessment rolls around, your environment looks nothing like what was assessed a year ago. And you have been flying completely blind for 11 months. You know, uh, Having modern cybersecurity requires a continuous assessment. Here's what it looks like, a CMIT Des Moines uh, continuous vulnerability scanning. That's one of the big one. We continue scanning for vulnerabilities. We automate those scans to run daily, weekly, against every endpoint, servers, network devices, because new vulnerabilities are flagged the moment they are disclosed and prioritized for patching. So we actually find them, and we schedule it, and we put it, and we patch, and we fix those. We have monthly external penetration testing. So that means that we're going to have someone that is an ethical hacker in our organization that is going to conduct those penetration testing. We have automated external penetration testing, against your internet facing system every month, because your attack surface change every single month. We have quarterly internal assessment, or team review configurations. They review access control, backup integrity. We check log data, any policy that is aligned, a policy alignment every 90 days. Um, Annual, we do annual formal assessment and a comprehensive risk assessment against the frameworks that are out there. So you have a relevant framework. So we deliver a continue monitoring. We continue, what is a big one, we continue with dark web monitoring. Your credentials, your domain, executive names, monitor 24/7 against the dark web marketplace and leak site. The shift in 2026 is from point in time assessment to continue assurance. You can That's the shift. You need to have a continuous assurance. Attackers operate continuously. Bad people, they're operating right now. Every 11 seconds, something happening in this country. So your defense has to be evaluated continuously. Annual assessment and still have their place for formal reporting and strategic planning, but they're the floor, not the ceiling.
Right.
And here is the bottom line for any business owner listening: cybersecurity is not a project you finish. It is a practice that you maintain. It's a practice that you maintain, business that you're trying to clean and to be sure that you don't have those thread. Businesses that treat it like a project definitely become the cautionary tale we read about in the news.
Perfect. Edgar, thank you so much. You've done a great job of explaining what a cybersecurity plan should include. I know we have a lot more to talk about because when it comes to all the services that you provide and everything business owners need to do, I think you and I have just scratched the surface, but we're
Yeah.
digging into it, and you're clearing a lot of questions up for a lot of people, and we really appreciate that, and I look forward to our next talk.
Yes, and yes.
All right, Edgar, thank you so much on joining me on Behind the Firewall with Edgar Ortiz, managing partner of CMIT Solutions in Des Moines. And until next time, thank you, Edgar, and have a great day.
See you next time.